Hello. We get to see me fish around to figure out what's going on here. I feel like there's this interior call to be at my work, at my soul's work. Up to now, that's been meditation and prayer and journaling. And yet, that doesn't seem like what's called for. Not at least in the way I've done those things up to now. So I'm going to play around with something here. When I do my journals, I've just done them for myself. It's my processing. I'm not trying to fix anyone or anything, including myself. I just seek to go deeper, always deeper, and discover what's there to be seen. And as I've said often enough, perspective is powerful. All kinds of things leap out at us when we change our perspective. But that doesn't seem to feel right now. So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try to make this as if I'm making it for you and not me. I don't know if that will work, but you do what you can to figure it out. So I've been working a lot with identity, which we can also label perspective if you want to. I mean, that's close. And so, who am I is in and behind everything. Were I illumined, I would have the experience of being everything. Instead of just like for a few moments in a life review where you truly got to be the other people. Or you might have an experience. I think most of us have had maybe a fleeting experience of having an understanding come to us, a very deep understanding of the other guy. Well, we also play with, am I the other guy? In playing with perspective, you can go anywhere with it. I'm sure somebody will be called to be a grain of sand on a beach and have that experience and get it really deeply. Did you know, by the way, that glass isn't solid? Glass is a liquid. And it seems to be a solid because of the speed at which it flows. So I'm thinking rocks are similar. They're conscious, awake and aware, but the speed at which they live and have their being is so much vaster than ours. We cram a whole lifetime into 80 years, if we're lucky. How long does a rock live? Hello. A mountain range. How long is it around? And so just playing with time can be fun. Knowing it's all just now anyway, it's still fun to play with it. My saving grace for that kind of thing is the concept of the two sides of the coin. I find paradox wherever I go, in deep within self, or anything that is wisdom seems to also be somehow paradoxical. And so, okay, so it's a mental trick to say, well, one coin has two sides. It is and it isn't. Anyway, being. owning our divinity. How does that feel? Where I am, where you are. Does it feel divine? Do I feel divine? Sometimes. I mean, the thing that most gets in the way of it is mind, because mind contains the past. And the past that it contains, as far as this body and this mind and this incarnation, doesn't contain any sense of awareness of or training to be divine. And so there's nothing to grasp onto there. There's nothing that mind can use to bootstrap itself up into this. And so it's been my way to just set it aside. It's not going to surprise me one little bit if I don't get another 10 or 12 steps down the road and I have a coming back together and a linking up. But right now I'm okay with it. I'm not getting rid of mind. I set it aside now and then, and mostly I just say heart has to rule things. And for the average Joe or Jane, mind rules things. And you know I'm right. And it's not that I'm right. You just know that that's how it is. I tried once for a period of time getting rid of the word I because it didn't seem to make any sense and I no longer knew what it meant. It's very inconvenient trying to talk without the personal pronoun. Yep. But the concept of I we do have to get rid of. And everything attached to it. Because probably, 90% of it is the body and the mind and the deep inner I, the soul, the being, has had its wings not clipped. They're not clipped because all we have to do is unfurl them and flap and we're off and gone. So no one has clipped our wings. I've also found it, oh God, it's joyous to quit blaming, to quit making a boogeyman out there somewhere. I mean, I don't care if it turns out that there really is some awful, evil federation or something trying to hold us down. It doesn't matter. Blame is inappropriate because those are parts that they're playing, just like this is a part that whoever I am is playing here, while that being simultaneously plays, let's just say 10,000 other parts. Let's just say I have 10,001 lifetimes, okay? And we're not going to string them together like pearls because that's linear. They're all happening now. Let's start there. They're all happening now. And so, have you heard of EFT, the emotional freedom technique, also called tapping? It's the fastest way to move energy that I know of. It's very strange. It's easy. And it works. Most things work when you work. I mean, you've got to apply them. But tapping is really handy. And so when I tap for a problem that I might be having in this lifetime, I don't limit it to this lifetime. Why not say across all of my lifetimes? Across all dimensions? Why not? That's me too, and that's now too. Why not? If we're integrating who and what we really are, it's time to start taking into account all those other bodies that you're operating. You know, you have a whole fleet of cars. A major business going here. I mean, if I've got 10,001 of them, that's a lot. All right? Well, I am that just as much as I am this. I'm not this more than I'm that. I'm just more aware of this because right now I'm using this conscious mind. But we don't have to be limited to the conscious mind. The minute, the nanosecond, we step into heart, we step out of time-space. There's no more time. It's like it is in the NDE, the near-death experience that people talk about. There's no time-space when you go through this heart portal that I keep talking about. And so, and you can also do your internet search on simultaneous time and get into the physics behind it and how that's understood. I mean, that can be helpful. It's not going to awaken you, but there's nothing wrong with having mental tools that can be called on to give an assist sometime when the being, you know, needs a nudge. Something like that can really help. Okay, so we talk about time all the time, simultaneous time. All there is now. Well, there's something that goes very much with now, and it's called here. Time space. I put a dash, a hyphen between them because to me, you know how in algebra you've got the XY grid that comprises the whole? Well, to me, X and Y is time and space. And they're different aspects of the exact same thing. And forget mind. Don't try to bring your mind along with this. Just stick to heart and you'll be fine. See, in your heart, you know everything. And you might not, even when you're in heart, that doesn't mean you're going to know all that you know. You're going to have full access to it. But you can sense it. Okay? You can sense it. You can feel it. And so it's a sixth sense or seventh or whatever. It's another sense that we learn to use. I've been known to call it the coin that on one side is a truth detector and it'll resonate. It's just a feeling when something's true. And on the other side, it's a BS detector. And it'll, you know, sound the klaxon and flash the red light when something is just nonsense. It just doesn't feel right. I mean, our bodies know more than we know about things like this. The animals know more than we know about things like this because they're much closer to their instinctual selves. Well, we have all of that to call upon too. We're just not used to doing it. We're just used to living in the left brain. And it's powerful and it's wonderful and it's done grand things. And, you know, I'm really pleased with it. But we've just let it get carried away. We've let it forget that it's tethered and tied to a thing called spirit or being or consciousness or whatever, you know. Left brain by itself makes the world that we see when we look around and things are kind of messed up. It doesn't have heart. Even right brain is going to bring you into heart pretty quickly, into what I call heart. All right, so being. We have all these incarnations. And they're all happening now. Now be in heart. They're all happening now. Well, chances are really good that in multiple lifetimes you're not living in the same house, in the same city, the same state. You're all over the place. Maybe not just all over the planet, but, you know, I suspect that a lot of us are in any number of other situations, other kinds of incarnations. Can you be open to that? Do you always have to be a human? It's the car you drive, you know. Can you drive a Maserati versus a VW Bug? Okay, you can have all different kinds of cars. You can drive, what are those big Jeep things that they use in the Army? I forget what they're called. Anyway, there's all different kinds of vehicles. Some people drive tractors. Some people drive motor scooters, you know, RVs. There's every kind of vehicle. Well, that's all we're talking about here. You're a being, and you have no limits. And if you have the least little bit of curiosity, you have tried some other things. So, How about we go into the room with a push broom and some elbow grease and a great attitude, and we're going to clean out the room that says, I'm only a human. I'm only a person. A lot of us can own all of our lifetimes, but we don't want to be told that we ever were, driving around anything besides a human bipedal vehicle. So these are the strictures, the chains, the ropes, the things that bind, the handcuffs, and nobody's forcing us to keep them on. It just takes a little concerted effort, an intention to be free. It's amazing where an intention to be free will take us. Now, we already are free, okay? So we've got this master coin here that we're already everything that is. We don't need to go anywhere. We don't need to do anything. It's fine. Everything just is. Okay? All right, that's the case. How accessible is it? On a good day, we might be able to tap into it in a meditation or in a prayer. What we have more accessible is this. And so this is really accessible, and it can be worked on. Even just accessing the beliefs, which are in the subconscious mind, and they have to be teased and tricked out so that they will show themselves. You might have mental beliefs that go in one direction, only when you find yourself in the situation that applies to that, you might find yourself emotionally refusing to go in that direction. We have all kinds of clashes going on. And, it makes good heart sense. If we've got lots and lots of bodies going on, we've got lots of perspectives going on, so we can make room for some dissonance, some internal dissonance, and we can say it's all right. Just like you can't pour your child into the mold to come out like you. We've got to give ourselves the same kind of slack and realize, for instance, I used to put down, not verbally, I wouldn't say anything, but within myself, I would look down on people who would suicide. I just thought they were too weak in their spirit or their soul, or, I just thought they were deficient in some way that they would do that was just horrendous. Well, this, of course, was until life taught me what serious, unending pain is about. And it softens you. There's nothing like walking a mile in the other guy's moccasins, Nothing like. And that's why we take on these other bodies. We want to understand. I mean, frankly, a lot of us want to understand the bad guys. We want to understand, why would somebody give themselves over to evil? What is there in it? And believe me, from our perspective as goody two-shoes light beings, and a lot of us start out that way, we have a lot of enlightened egos running around the planet, giving seminars and writing books. And that's fine too. I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying those people have not put themselves in a position to have any understanding at all of what makes a bad guy tick. And when you're not just in a universe of infinite love, you're in an absolute infinite cosmos that's eternal. And it's just love is all it is. Every building block, every atom, everything is love. And you've got a darn good shot at being able to see this if you will spend some time in heart. It's heart vision. We can't really go around in the depth of this understanding all the time, or we would just be a walking commercial for Kleenex tissues, just overflowing with love and joy that's too much to contain, and so it flows out through the eyes. And so we're not in it all the time, but it's there. It's there all the time. Mostly, though, until somebody's told us that something exists or something is possible, we're shut off from it. It's just not, we're not capable until we see something. You have to see it first. You have to see that there's a possibility, or your heart has to drive you so hard in a particular direction that no one's ever gone before, but it doesn't matter to you because of how that feels, and you know it's just awesome, and it's right, and it's the way it is. So it's my joy when I contemplate what kind of a world would I like to live in. What would I like to see for the planet and the people? There would be, judgment wouldn't even be a word in the lexicon. It wouldn't exist. It's a bad idea. I mean, it was interesting to try it out and to explore it and all that. It's a part of the 3D duality thing, but my paradise is not in 3D. It's just not. It starts out in 5D. And everything is contained there. There's still some duality. It's not like duality goes away, but people don't punch each other out over stuff. They don't go to war, you know. It's not like that. There's such deep understanding, love, and respect that goes into discussions that you would think that the discussions were love-making. They're just imbued with love. This respect that I talk about, it's got a capital R. All of this emanates from heart. I mean, you know, words are screwy, and they're the toughest thing to have to use, but it turns out that it's okay because I've been at this for a couple of years now. I've got a little over 1,100 video journals out there and a bunch more written journals. And so there's a whole body of work that, as it turns out, as I look back at it, it helps people find their way into heart. And when people are all in heart, they use words differently. They don't have to use them so very much. I'm sure we're just that close to, I'll say telepathy, but I think it's better, deeper, and finer than that. And it's just natural. It's we're not going to have any gurus or saints or anything because we're all going to be that. All of those attributes belong to all of us. So while you're at it, don't just be divine, but be a saint. Be an angel. Be all of that. Maybe you really are. I mean, why wouldn't you be? Hello? Why wouldn't you have tried that out as well? Of course you have. Now, you can get out the push broom again, or however you choose to sweep up, clean, vacuum, whatever, and clean out the whole stable of beliefs that gets in the way of you adopting this understanding, this deeper understanding about yourself and your own identity. You're divine. And at one point, we'll all be working miracles. It'll be quite normal to us. It's a higher kind of physics that we just haven't accessed in 3D yet. We will. In a way, maybe we're taking 3D along with us. I think that would be really fine if we would just, you know, wrap Gaia up in a bow and the whole solar system along with it and just transport the whole lot, including our bodies. And all those that want to go. I mean, nobody's forced. That would be so ridiculous. You will go to heaven, or else. And so those that, if it turns out that that's what's going on, I'm sure excellent, infinitely loving arrangements are made already for those that don't choose to go in that direction. There are plenty of people whose heart calls them to 3D. They have work there. It's like the people that go into their NDEs and, oh my God, they don't want to come back here. But they wind up back here. And in general, you know, it might take a while to adjust, but they're okay with it. They feel really good about it because they really do have something good, deep, and solid that calls them here. They find a way to plug in to that which is really meaningful on a really deep level. You see, we can satisfy all the superficial needs and desires we like, and it will never satisfy us on a really deep level. So I say it's time to quit living on the superficial level. Go find the deep level and be it. And get to know it. And get to know self as that. Well, you guys let me know how this one worked out. It's different. Good day. I've been working a lot with identity, which we can also label perspective if you want to. I mean, you know, that's close. And so, who am I is in and behind everything. Were I illumined, I would have the experience of being everything, instead of just like for a few moments in a life review where you truly got to be the other people. Or you might have an experience. I think most of us have had maybe a fleeting experience of having an understanding come to us, a very deep understanding of the other guy. Well, we also play with, am I the other guy? In playing with perspective, you can go anywhere with it. I'm sure somebody will be called to be a grain of sand on a beach and have that experience and get it really deeply. Did you know, by the way, that glass isn't solid? Glass is a liquid. And it seems to be a solid because of the speed at which it flows. So I'm thinking rocks are similar. They're conscious, awake and aware, but the speed at which they live and have their being is so much vaster than ours. We cram a whole lifetime into 80 years, if we're lucky. How long does a rock live? Hello. A mountain range. How long is it around? And so just playing with time can be fun. Knowing it's all just now anyway, it's still fun to play with it. My saving grace for that kind of thing is the concept of the two sides of the coin. I find paradox wherever I go, in deep within self, or anything that is wisdom seems to also be somehow paradoxical. And so, you know, okay, so it's a minimum for myself. It's my processing. I'm not trying to fix anyone or anything, including myself. I just seek to go deeper, always deeper, and discover what's there to be seen. And as I've said often enough, perspective is powerful. All kinds of things leap out at us when we change our perspective. But that doesn't seem to feel right now. So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try to make this as if I'm making it for you and not me. I don't know if that will work, but you know, you do what you can to figure it out. So hello. We get to see me fish around to figure out what's going on here. I feel like there's this interior call to be at my work, at my soul's work. Up to now, that's been meditation and prayer and journaling. And yet, that doesn't seem like what's called for. Not at least in the way I've done those things up to now. So I'm going to play around with something here. When I do my journals, I've just done them